So hello everyone, this is AetherNightmare and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. I'm still not feeling very good, so I'm just going to focus on working on Lancer today, which should be able to graduate up to Paladin. Just going to work on videos and spurts since that's all the energy I have. I may sound okay, but I'm not actually feeling okay. So we're going to work within our means. Let's head back to Gridania and get this sucker started. So over the course of the next couple days, there's no way I have time to get it all done in one day today. I'm just gonna focus on this. How did that... Somebody got on the roof. Let's go to... the Lancers Guild. I think it starts there. Starts here, and then it's gonna send us to Korthus. I know the updates for Honkai and Genshin are also out, but, yeah, I'm gonna work on those some other time, when I have more time. I, the Dragon, Yuane seeks your aid in assisting an old friend. I dare say you might just be the right person for the job. The guild is urgent need of a capable Lancer for a mission beyond our nation's borders. Hear me out, if you will. I've received word from an Ishgardian friend to the effect that he requires our aid. I would have you go and provide that aid. As you may already know, due to her ongoing conflicts with the dragons, Ishgard has kept her gates closed to outsiders for some time. The occasional Dragoon on patrol duty is about all folks see these days. And if you're unfamiliar with Ishgard, it's technically because the area is not accessible until Heavensward. In spite of her self-imposed isolation, however, the Holy See, aka the Pope, has never failed to honor her obligations to her allies. Or at least maybe they call the Pope something else. I thought the Holy See was the Pope. Maybe the Holy See is the people that act under the Pope. It's only fitting that we answer the call and lend what assistance we can. To this end, we offer to dispatch a contingent of wood whalers with all haste, but were politely informed that they would not be welcome, much to our initial confusion. It was later explained that we are dealing with a matter of some sensitivity, and must best be handled by individuals who are capable and trustworthy, yet unbound by allegiance, and who fits that description save adventurers. So this is another reason I want to do these now and not later, is because story-wise they make more sense to do them now. Secrecy being paramount, I can provide no details as to the nature of the task. All you need know will be revealed at the rendezvous point. Should you accept the mission, take yourself to the observatorium. A knight by the name of Sir Alberic will receive you upon arrival. Okay. The observatorium, which is in Korthus. But as you can see, with Korthus, Ishgard is up here, so this is our normal section that we go about with Korthus, but then there's like two other ones. Ishgard is up in this area, but we will not be having access to it in this patch. So even though it exists on the map, it doesn't mean we can go there. I am also almost done with the Paladin sword, but actually I'm done with the sword part. I just need to work on the shield part. That'll be in a future video as well. Going forward, I'm only going to be working on the warrior legendary weapons, I think, or any other class I definitely want to main. I might pick one. I might pick a legendary weapon for, like, the warrior class of my choosing, not warrior class, the tank class of my choosing, a DPS class of my choosing, and maybe, like, a healer class of my choosing, if I choose to play healer at all. It'll probably be white mage. Basic. You must be the adventurer of whom Yuane sent word. Greetings and well met. I am Sir Alberic Bale, Knight of Ishgard. The Holy See is much obliged to you for your aid. Time being of the essence, I shall proceed straight to the heart of the matter. The eye, an Ishgardian relic of immeasurable worth, has been stolen, and we have reason to believe the culprit has come this way. So it is that we seek your assistance in this recovery. The thief has been identified as a man named Estinian, a dragoon sworn to the service of the Holy See. Ah, you've heard true. The crime was perpetuated by one of our own, an individual in a position of trust and of no little honor. You may be assured that a fate worse than death awaits him upon capture. Kinda doubt that, because he's been in a lot of stuff for trailers going forward from here. The fandom very much likes this character. My duties to the sea afford me little opportunity to travel far beyond the walls of Ishgard. I must confess to a grave ignorance of recent Guardian affairs. I was told that a sentry by the name of Logadranrol might have knowledge of routes oft taken by Ishgardian fugitives. I would prefer to keep my identity a secret, and thus would have you gather what information you can from the man. We must act quickly, for you see, Estinian is... But I have already said too much. What matters is that we find our thief, and the eye with all haste. When last sighted, Estinian was clad in black armor. Now go and speak not a word of what I have told you to anyone. I can very much hear the Moogle in all of this cutscene. Routes favored by Ishgardian fugitives? Now that's a question I don't hear every day. You aren't plotting so unsavory act yourself, are you? Even if you were, I doubt you'd make it far. Any road, we've caught a few fleeing the North Shroud, but with Gridania being home to nearly as many Elezen as Ishgard, it is no easy task to identify outsiders. If you're on the hunt for someone, you could do worse than to visit Florental Spire in the Northern Shroud and speak with a man named Idristan. If any suspicious persons have crossed the border in recent days, he'd be the first to know. I keep hearing my mom's Kindle beep in the background. This is like the third time it is updated today. What did you do to that thing? What do I need to fix it? But yeah, noise mixed with just ill health has made it hard to actually stream anything as of late, so I might just do little shorter videos that I can blip together in my own time. I've not really been up for streaming, sorry. Hail, adventurer. Yes, I'm the one tasked with monitoring those who would enter our lands by way of Korthus. An Ishgardian knight clad in black armor? No, I recall nothing of the sort, and such a striking visitor would be difficult to forget. My apologies, friend. I can only suggest that you return to Logadranrol and see if he has any other theories. And suddenly back to Korthus. So I'll probably pick character classes of each subtype in order to main. I'm guessing warrior is probably going to be my main tank. White mage is probably going to be my main healer. And then for DPS, I'm going to keep it a secret. I have an idea of what it's going to be, but I'll keep it on the down low for now. You'll figure it out when we get there. And even then, I might change my mind. Who knows? Since there's so many. No luck, you say. Most curious. Why, it's nigh impossible that a fugitive could make it this far without being espied from Florental Spire. Are you sure? They didn't sneak in under other tree cover? They didn't take something that wasn't a main path? Which leaves the possibility that your man is still in Ishgard. It runs counter to good sense. Would the fugitive not want to put distance of ground between him and his pursuers? But by the process of deduction, it is a possibility. The climes of Ishgard are not kind to drifters and vagabonds. That said, there's been talk of curious smoke wafting from a cave east of here at night. Were I might begin my search there. Yeah, that's something that always drives me crazy in movies, too, is that they always, like, hunker down and light a fire. Ooh, I can take out enemies. In the middle of the night, like, oh, we're being chased by pursuers. Let's light a fire to keep us warm. And it's like, do you have any idea how much of a target that would make you? You are a bright fire in the middle of a night. You have literally made yourself glow like a beacon. Oh, it's in a cave, so it should be okay. No, sir, the mountain is glowing. Actually, really quickly, I should eat some foods. I have about an hour to do this, so, you know, I'm gonna eat an hour's worth of food. And I remember in my Lancer video I said I didn't have access to multi-hit attacks. I don't know if Lancer actually gets one. That was one heavy landing. The Ishgard would resort to sending coin-starved adventurers after me. I know not whether to laugh or feel insulted. The eye arouses for another? Preposterous. Our paths shall cross again, you can be sure of it. And then he just takes off like a bottle rocket, because apparently Dragoons can do that. There's gonna be a lot of Chocobo in this part, I bet, because Korthus really does need more war points. It's such a huge territory with only one warp access point. Whereas if this was anywhere else, Leminsa, Gridania, Ul'dah, like, it would be divided up, but for some reason Korthus isn't. I mean, it sort of is, but this one big area would be at least two. A dragon clad in black, you say? Tell me all that transpired. By the Fury, that the Eye would choose another. I had not thought it possible. In light of recent events, it would seem an explanation is in order. The Eye is no ordinary relic. It harbors the power of the dragon, which it bestows upon a single chosen soul, the strongest and wisest Dragoon. He who is chosen is possessed of the power to fight our mortal foes, the dragons of Dravania, on equal footing, soaring the firmaments as if it were an extension of the land. That man is known as the Azure Dragoon. The Azure Dragoon is the light of hope for all Ishgardians, and the paragon of all Dragoons. For this reason, you may imagine how it pains me to have to confess that the man you encountered, the thief, is none other than the Azure Dragoon, and that I was once his teacher. Needless to say, I acknowledge myself accountable for Estinian's misdeeds, and meant to do all in my power to find him and recover the Eye, but I cannot do this alone. I require your help, you who have received the power of the dragon. You may labor to believe it, but there can be no mistake. The soul of the Dragoon I bear glows in your presence, irrefutable proof that you are chosen. What I can ill explain, however, is the why of it. Well, then I guess he didn't really steal it then if it chose him, did it? Never before in Ishgard's long history has the Eye roused to more than one individual in a single generation. But avails us not to cudgel our brains about it. The fact of the matter is that you are now a vessel for the power of the dragon. That dragon lies yet in slumber, however, and you must needs possess the means to wake it, the soul of the Dragoon. I would entrust you with mine. Like Estinian, I once ruled the skies as the Azure Dragoon, although that power has since become lost to me. It was simply by force of habit that I have hitherto kept the soul upon my person. I have no inkling as to why the Eye has seen fit to choose a second, and an outsider at that. Well, I mean, there are two stones, so having two eyes of the dragon, so to speak, and therefore two chosen ones isn't, like, that weird. What, did you think the other one was only if the first got lost? Yet one thing is clear. None can challenge the Azure Dragoon and conceivably prevail, save another Azure Dragoon. You're our only hope of bringing Estinian to justice and reclaiming the Eye. Of course, I do not ask that you do this unaided. I may be a Dragoon no more, but what knowledge I have I shall gladly impart to you. For indeed, when the time comes that you must face the Azure Dragoon, not less than complete mastery over the power of the dragon will avail you. That is a perilous road that lies ahead of you. I shall not delay. Knowing this, if you would still lend me your lance, I will teach you to harness the power that has chosen you. Go forth, my young Dragoon, and rouse the dragon within. I look forward to your return. And there we go, we learned the ability to jump. Delivers the jumping attack with a potency of 250. Returns to your original position after the attack is made. Don't land in a puddle. Dragoon unlocked. Rune Dragon grows stronger. because my outer dragon wasn't strong enough. Next Dragoon quest will be available upon reaching level 35. So with that, I do believe, let us change our class. Soul Crystals, you can see that it is now here. It looks a little bit like a wing to me. I think maybe it's supposed to be like a fang, but to me it looks like a wing. So as you can see, it's different than the soul of the warrior or the soul of the paladin. Each one is going to look just a little bit different. So if I do this, by changing your job class to Dragoon, you may carry over the hotbar and crossbar, yada yada. Yeah. Let's transfer it. Hotbar and crossbar settings have been successfully ported, so hopefully it didn't jumble what I had set up for too long. Let's also go in here and... nope, not that. Redo our set. I'm just gonna add Dragoon and then delete the Lancer set, so... there we go. Now it's officially saved as Dragoon. And with that, I do believe we can equip some heavy armors. Not all of them. They have to be Dragoon compatible. But I don't think Lancer had access to all the same armors that Dragoon did, whereas Dragoon has access to at least a few heavy armors. But with that, I'm not level 35 yet, so time to splice and meet you back here when I am. Okay, we've made it up to level 35, so it's time to take on the next part of the quest. Hopefully maybe get a skill. Lance of Fury. Sir Albrecht would have you undertake a trial. We do get a skill. We get another jump. Elusive jump to a location 15 yalms behind you. Cannot be executed while bound. Yeah, so if you're chained up, obviously you can't go anywhere. This one's just an evasive maneuver. I don't use it that much. It's pleasing to see how readily the dragon stirs within you. You show great potential. A potential that may well prove the difference between victory and defeat. Estinian is no ordinary dragoon. Even when set upon the legendary azures of ages past, the man is considered second to none. Such is his prowess, in fact, that the day he was chosen by the Eye, it was proclaimed that Haldrath, the Dragon's Eye, had been reborn. I mean not to disparage your skills, but to pursue Estinian in your current state would be tantamount to suicide. As promised, I shall train you in the way of the Dragoon, that you might face Estinian as an equal. Before we commence, however, it's only fitting that you are edified regarding our origins. It's all begun a millennium past, when our forebears resided in the southern plains in humble circumstances. The Fury, impressed by the spirit of our ancestors, decided that it was meet that she make from her own. Weird phrasing. Okay. So did she appear before Haldrath's sire, a man of courage and integrity named Thordan, and bade him lead her people to the promised land, to what would become a great nation of Ishgard. Why do you speak weird? Their journey brought with them to a wide chasm, whereupon Thordan and his people were set to building a bridge. It was then that a dark shadow descended upon them, the great worm Nidhogg. Heedless of his own safety, Thordan fearlessly charged at the colossal beast. Alas, he was pushed into the chasm by one of his own, a man seduced by the worm, and fell to his death. Taking up his slain sire's lance, Haldrath hurled himself at Nidhogg. Even as tears streamed down his face, the confrontation ended when the young man, his hand guided by Halone, landed a mighty thrust that grazed Nidhogg's eye. With a terrible roar of pain, the great worm took wing and fled, while jubilation reigned below. Ishgard's priceless relic is none other than the eye taken from Nidhogg that day. It is a veritable wellspring of dragon power. Even so removed from its owner, it can exert control over the hearts of men. Haldrath himself felt its malign influence, but his love of justice brooked no corruption, and he prevailed over the power, claiming it for his own, and so it was that the first Azure Dragoon was born. Being derived from our foe, the power of the dragon is a thing to be loathed. But as Haldrath proved to all of us, as long as our hearts burn with justice, we need not fear being taken in its thrall. Ah, but what is justice precisely? Justice assumes many shapes and forms, and none can say that one is greater than the other. Yet apparently the Eye seems to think so. So long as you hold fast to your beliefs and stay true to yourself, you leave no room for the power of the dragon to master you. But enough of history. Let us return our attention to the present. A knight by the name of Sir Brucemont will see to the next stage of your training. Seek him out at Witchdrop. So apparently these eyes can act like the One Ring, influencing control. But yeah, justice is a nebulous concept of which to determine whether somebody is worthy. After all, justice over an unrighteous cause is what causes all the ilms in the world. I guess it's probably down below. Yeah. So the adventurer seeks to become a dragoon. Sir Albrecht speaks of legends and chosen ones, but I would see you prove yourself in a more practical fashion. With your lance, defend yourself. Against? I thought I was gonna fight him. I'm like waiting for him to draw his blade. You have some skill, I'll give you that. And the glow of your soul crystal, perhaps Sir Albrecht was not wrong about you, after all. Now return to him. Your training here is complete. I hate that I have to fly all the way back every time. There needs to be 2 crystals in this place. One in the big city and one in the small city. Actually, there's 2 small cities. Is it too much to ask that it be treated similar to like one of the starting towns and get like a mini crystal that you can warp to? Would that be too much? Seems Dragoon is busy today. The soul of the dragon grows ever stronger within you. Clearly your trial was a rousing success. I need only observe your crystal to know as much. Yes, though you only have just begun to walk the path of the Dragoon, it is clear you possess the talent to become Estinian's equal. Really? His training must not have been very much then, if I can get to that point in like a day. Go forth and make the powers you have attained your own. When the time is right, we shall proceed with your training. You slew a small fiend in a pit. Your power now rivals Estinian's. Well then, Estinian has some making up to do, doesn't he? But anyway, I need to be level 40 for the next part, so I'm gonna go queue in for some duties, which take forever as a DPS. Holy crap. And, start the next part when I get there. There we go. Finally level 40, so we can take on the next part. What do we get? Unfading Skies, and we get... The Doom Spike delivers an attack with a potency of 110 to all enemies in a straight line before you. Oh, I can finally get my AoE, so I can stop doing single target and probably annoying my allies. Although, to be fair, if this is a level 40 skill, I don't want to hear any bitching in any dungeon below level 40. You grow ever stronger, and I speak of more than just the flesh. You are slowly but surely realizing your potential as an Azure Dragoon. It is heartening to look upon. Though I must confess that my presiding feeling is one of relief. You must understand, there is mere thought that the Eye would choose an outsider, one who ill comprehends the threat posed by the dragons, filled me with the gravest of misgivings. Yet you have, but I shall say no more, lest flattery impede your improvement. Now during our last lesson I enlightened you regarding the origins of dragoons. You will recall how Haldreth heroically triumphed over the great worm Nidhogg, and Ishgard came into possession of the Eye. Tell me, Bren, do you believe that these events truly transpired? Or are you inclined to think them fairy tales? I ask you this because few folk have seen dragons in the flesh besides we Ishgardians, and most would as soon dismiss them as products of imagination. Alas, dragons are no less real than you and I, with Nidhogg perhaps the most real of all. In the course of its history, Ishgard has suffered the creature's wrath on 8 separate occasions. Each time the great worm rouses, the blood of countless Ishgardians is spilled. Yeah, I've seen enough dragons in the game already. Let us revisit the past once more. This time is 20 summers past, and the place Dravania. After a century of slumber, Nidhogg awakened once more to resume his reign of terror. Entire villages were razed to the ground, their inhabitants reduced to smoldering ash. Sensing the great worm's unbridled rage, others of his kind began to rouse, and in such numbers as to blot out the sun with their wings, a deep, foreboding darkness swept over Ishgard. Raging infernos painted the belly of the sky an angry red, the agonized screams of innocents fading into deathly silence. In my station as Azure Dragoon, I was there throughout it all, bore witness to all the horrors. But there was no time to offer even a silent prayer. Nidhogg lingered on, in place only long enough to lay it to waste. And when he took wing, so too did I pursue him, a man possessed. This game of cat and mouse continued for what seemed like an eternity before I found myself face to face with the greatest worm. The battle unfolded in a tiny settlement on the edge of Korthus, raging on for 3 days and 3 nights, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. Remaining on my feet by sheer force of will, I realized that it must now end, else it shouldn't end well. Marshalling my last ounce of strength, I wagered all on one single thrust. My lance struck home, burying deep in the ruin of my opponent's empty eye socket, yet before I could withdraw my weapon, the worm lashed out wildly in its agony, dealing a blow that left me sprawled upon the scorched earth, nigh insensate. In that instant, I thought myself surely doomed, but Halone was not finished with me. Having lost the taste for battle, Nidhogg let loose a blood-curdling roar before fleeing to the sky. The battle was over. While I did not perish from my injuries, they rendered my body unfit to bear the power of the dragoon. Or, of the dragon, excuse me. And I was the Azure Dragoon no more. Laying bedridden, my thoughts wandered to all the innocent lives that had been lost, the people I had failed to protect. That last conflict with the dragons of Dravania left countless orphans in its wake. Estinian is one of them, the sole survivor of Ferndale, the final village to suffer Nidhogg's wrath. With none left to care for him, I did the only thing I could. I took Estinian as my own son, instructed him in the way of the dragoon when he was but in age to learn. Yet I would not have you think me noble. My actions were born not of compassion, but of guilt. My guilt of having failed him. But alas, I have also failed him as a father. For what manner of man did I bring him up to be? A thief who would endanger the life of every one of his countrymen. Ah, you heard me right. All of Ishgard may suffer for his crime. Though we know little and less of the minds of dragons, it is conceivable that the disturbance surrounding his stone lie will rouse Nidhogg to waken once more. That his kin have already stirred from their slumber serves as fair warning of that. Time is not on our side. Fortunately, it would seem you are more than ready to embark on your next trial. Make way to Witchdrop, where the Knight of Hustine awaits your arrival. My nation is depending on you. Back to Witchdrop, I guess. Kind of a weird thing to name it. If you think about it, it's kind of like naming part of your city Women Murder. Because that's essentially what you're doing. But yeah, oh my gosh, it takes so much longer to level up as a Dragoon or DPS than it does a tank. I get into duties so much slower, and it's harder to take on huge swaths of enemies because I don't have the stamina to deal with them all. I can do like one at a time. Then I have to regain my health. It's like Final Fantasy XI all over again. You are the one who would aspire to be Azure Dragoon? Why, you are not even of Ishgard. If you truly possess the power that Sir Albrecht sees in you, then prove it to me with your lance, on guard. A bug. There you have me facing off against a bug. More bugs. This is probably why it rewards me with a multi-hit attack. It's saying, look how awful it is to do this without a multi-hit attack, as if you haven't run multiple dungeons already. Doing exactly this. Alright, Houston. That strength, I have not seen its like since Estinian himself stood before me. Mayhap Sir Albrecht has the right of it after all. Return and show your crystal to him. I have no doubt he'll be pleased. And I think those balloons up there are also meant to be part of the Ixals. I have no idea why they don't spend more time trying to take those out of the sky. Yeah, big airship there, too. What is this thing? A bird? An eagle? A dragon of some sort? What are you? You're a weird bird. That's what you are. I say as if I'm not on a weirder bird. Potentially being descended from even weirder birds. You have passed yet another trial with flying colors. The day when you may stand before a Stinian is equal, if not far off. And when that day comes, the Eye will choose you over the traitor. I have no doubt of this. But we must be patient still. For now, you must continue your training. When you can do no more on your own, seek me out once more. Sir, I did pest control. Anyway, I can now hit multiple targets. Yay! And I've leveled up ever so slightly. Which apparently gets me a whole new outfit. Fine by me. But anyways, I need to be level 45 for the next one, and with DPS, I can't do it as easy as a tank, so it's gonna be in multiple parts. Huzzah for editing. Okay, we're level 45 finally, so let's get on with it. Double Dragoon. He's been eagerly awaiting your arrival, as he always is. Impeccable timing. A message arrived from Estinian but moments ago. Much to my astonishment, he would trade words with us and bid us to meet him at Boulder Downs. As to his true intentions, I cannot say. It may well be a trap, but we must go nonetheless. I trust I can count upon your company. Right. Eventually, one of these should start giving me gear. Very peak of the crystal. Don't fall off, little floofball. Greetings, Master. It's been too long. Astinian, end this folly at once. You must know that each second the Eye passes outside Ishgard's walls brings us closer to a repeat of the tragedy of 20 summers past. Surrender yourself in the Eye and return to me with Ishgard before it's too late. Ah, but it's already too late, Master, for you see, Nidhogg has already awakened. What? Just this camp wrangle. He likes to be tall. Hear me, Master. You have mistaken the cause of the dragon's return. The Eye is not to blame. A premonition came to me by virtue of the dragon within, warning me that the great worm would soon rouse. Even as he slumbered, Nidhogg seethed with irrepressible rancor for that wound of 20 years ago. That rancor will send him flying as a speeding arrow to Ishgard, whereupon death and devastation will ensue. But there is a possible solution. Were the Eye taken to a remote land far from the Holy See, then, and only then, could destruction be averted and the lives of innocent Ishgardians be spared. You mean to make a bait of yourself? Nay, there is more than this than you let on. You seek vengeance for Ferndale. To me, the two are one and the same. You know my past better than anyone else. It was for no other reason than to avenge my family that I became a dragoon. Dragons long outlive men and do not soon forget the wrongs done to them. What grudge they harbor burns as a fire in their hearts, over time swelling into an unquenchable inferno. You need only look back on history to see that Nidhogg grows stronger with each awakening. I don't know Nidhogg. When last he darkened our skies, the great worm came within a hair's breadth of laying waste to Ishgard. Naught short of death will prevent him from completing his mission when he next awakes. Nidhogg took everything from me, and now I shall take everything from him, even if it means my life. I take it Nidhogg is kind of like this game's version of Sin. The eye works in ways men can ill comprehend, but this much is plain. In choosing 2 Azure Dragoons in one generation, it means for one of us to join together in common cause. Adventurer, you have heard my resolution. Now I ask that you lend me your power. Aye, the power of the dragon. In the long and proud history of Ishgard, never before have 2 Azure Dragoons arisen in the same era to fight as one. This is our best, nay, our only chance to send the Great Worm to eternal slumber. Behold my armor. This is the Draken mail, forged in the lifeblood of dragons. Dragon, Dragoon, Draken, blood. As blood calls to blood, so too does the armor call to the dragon within, redoubling the wearer's strength thereby. If you would realize your potential as Azure Dragoon, you must needs clad yourself the same. Clad so, you will inherit the technique passed from Azure Dragoon to Azure Dragoon down through the generations. Then, and only then, will your training be complete. But first, you must win the Draken mail, as I and Sir Albric did before you, by proving yourself worthy in the ultimate trial of the Azure, a series of battles so harrowing as to send the unworthy to an early demise. Master, once the adventurer acquires the armor, pray see to it that they learn to harness the power of the dragon in full. Astinian, wait! Save your words. I do not mean to make myself easy prey for dragons. I take my leave of you. In all fairness, I'm not fond of what I'm currently wearing either. So, you know. I'd much rather wear whatever he's wearing than whatever this is. Especially in this weather. Good gracious. Astinian. Forgive me, I was deep in thought. Now then, as to acquiring the armor of which Astinian spoke. At first, it was my intention to bequeath mine own armor to you. I am an Azure Dragoon no more, and its powers are wasted on me. It would be simple enough to hand it over to you and complete your training right here and now. But, as Astinian said, the Draken armor is no ordinary set of mail. Its strength derives from the dragon blood whence it came. The blood's power resonates within the soul of the wearer. I mean, that's what I'm doing with my relic weapon already. Though I can no longer draw upon mine own armor's power, its bond to me was forged years ago. Were I to bestow it to you now, I fear it would offer but a scintilla of the protection it offered me in the bygone days. Have you seen what I'm wearing? Aye, Astinian has the right of it. You must claim your armor as he and I did before you. You must complete the trials of the Azure, that the powers of the dragon blood be yours and yours alone. The ogre's belly will be where the final test begins. I shall dispatch Sir Brucemont there. Seek him out upon your arrival. Assuming that's much further north. Yeah. It's up here. Alright, probably gotta be careful in here, because stuff can kill us. You have grown strong since we last met, adventurer, but you're pale in comparison with your azure forebearers. No shit, I've been doing this for like a day. If you would prove me wrong, let your lance do the talking. Actually, technically, over the course of recording, it's been several days, but my point still stands. The soul of the dragon resonates within the armor. Once again, adventurer, you prove yourself worthy beyond my expectations. Take this, but know that your trial has only just begun. Your next challenge lies in the chamber beyond. Sir Hostine waits you there. Okay, leggings. Did they go into my regular? Yeah, shit. I need to go into my armory and clear out a few things. Alright, I need the... Some things are easier to get rid of than other. This is all classes, so I can... Oh yeah, gathering. Pfft, get out of here. Goodbye. Alright, put that in. Armory chest. Wonder what happens if you accidentally discard some of the pieces. You, a foreigner, would don the Draken armor? Then prove to us that you will not do it dishonor. I can get it to... Oh, come on, it's a spellcaster. Or... rock thrower. I don't want to draw the attention of too much other stuff in this cave. As Sir Albrecht has said, the Eye has chosen you, and it would appear that he speaks true. The armor is yours, wear it with pride and honor. Your trial is nigh complete, but be forewarned. Many before you have made it this far, only to fall at the final challenge. Do not let overconfidence be your downfall. Did it go into the... crap. I think that was gloves. I need to clear some of this out. This is another reason why I'm doing them in a particular order as well. Disciple of War, all classes, gathering, goodbye. Do we have room in feet? We have room in feet. It's the body that I'm worried about. Get rid of that. You've made it this far, very well. Prove yourself worthy of the azure or die in the effort. Try not to draw too much attention down here. There we go. Wasn't so bad. You've demonstrated your powers to me beyond a doubt. There is not an Ishgardian who would gainsay your right to don the armor of dragons. I shall send word ahead to Sir Albrecht that you have passed your trials here. It is he who will present you with the fourth piece of armor, and consummate your training. Go now, my fellow Dragoon, and deliver this land from Great Worm's wrath. Okay, boots. Let's also put this in armory so I can actually wear it. Forgot to equip that. My bad. It's coming along piece by piece. Where are we going? Probably all the way back down. Is there a way out? probably take this, yeah. I had second thoughts. Keep in mind that these are here, and I can fight these now that I'm level 40. Give myself some easy experience. I heard from Sir Brucemont that you perform most impressively. Yes, I stand more convinced than ever that you will be the one to save our land. Yet be warned, one last trial awaits you. You'll face the trial in the presence of not knights, but of ghosts. Make your way to the Steel Vigil and seek out a gravestone north and west of the structure. Take with you this flute, and even when you reach your destination, blow a single strong note. A visitor shall soon arrive. Entertain your guests, and should he leave behind a present, return it here to me. Okay, so there is more. So this is not a flute. You know what? I dislike this armor so much, I'd rather wear almost anything else. It's weaker, but I don't freaking care. We're heading all the way north. I'm gonna cheat. I'll spend 100 gil to cheat, ever so slightly. Better not summon a dragon. What was the horn for? You know it summons dragons, and yet... Why do you have this? Alright. Got the bone. Let's head back home. And let's return. This is probably the helmet. I'm guessing. Since I think it's only the, yeah. It's the final piece that you get at level 50. It's true of all the quests so far. Your presence before me indicates that you've seen the visitor. Have you aught to show for your deeds? Ah, the skull of Greywine, old warrior of the Dravinian horde. It's said that in ages past he could bring down a castle with a single breath. His strength has dwindled since those days, but a dragon past his prime is a formidable foe nonetheless. In slaying him, you have proven yourself worthy of this. Now what if I drew something else? You now possess 4 pieces of the armor that Astinian, myself, and our forebears did wear. While you doubtless wonder about the 5th, I can tell you only that it is not mine to give. Fear not, however, that your triumphs in the trials and against the dragon of the Horde gives evidence that the Draconian blood now resonates within yours. Yes, you stand before me as prepared for your ultimate challenge as any could be. Is this sure because I myself am not just Draconian? And yet, before we proceed, I would hear it from your own lips. The Great Worm's power is the stuff of legends. Have you truly resolved to fight this battle? To risk your own life to deliver a foreign land from the clutches of its ancient foe? When you are certain that your mind is settled, return and speak. To me. Oops. Oh, maybe that was level 40 quests instead of 45. My bad? Fatal Seduction. Sir Albrecht would ask you to reaffirm your commitment to do battle with the Great Worm. So, you would join your strength to Estinians, that Ishgard might be free from our rage of a Great Worm forevermore? Then I shall honor my promise. You shall have full use of your powers by the time we are done. Before we begin, there is something I must needs confess. You will recall the tale of my battle with Nidhogg 20 years past, and how the power of the dragon left me on account of the injuries I sustained. What I said was an untruth. The power did not abandon me. It was I who abandoned it. Being derived from our mortal enemies, the power of the Azure Dragoon is a double-edged sword. Even as it lends us the strength we need to smite dragons, it heightens our communication with the creatures, rendering our minds more susceptible to their seduction than ordinary men. Even as I buried my lance in Nidhogg's flesh, our gazes locked, and my eyes met then with a look that would fair impale a man. In that instant, I found myself assailed by a torrent of emotions not my own. Sorrow, rancor, pity. They threatened to drown me and leave me behind a dragon. They've drowned the man in me and leave behind a dragon. Or, you know, that's a little thing called guilt, empathy. Fearing that I might turn traitor, I chose to purge myself of the power that the eye had bestowed upon me. Thus, regaining lucidity, I was able to rout the grievously wounded Nidhogg. Alas, countless of his brethren yet remained. As if to mock me, they fell upon Ferndale with a vengeance. Bereft of my power, it was all I could do to save but one child. Nary a soul knows of this, not even Estinian. But I can keep him in the dark no longer. At our last meeting, Estinian said that protecting Ishgard and enacting revenge upon Nidhogg are one and the same. That frame of mind, I fear, may well lead to his demise. The desire to protect and the desire to avenge are opposing forces that can ill be reconciled. Worse, the latter serves only to cloud his sense of self. When next Estinian and I meet, I intend to confess all, though it means the loss of his good opinion. The outcome of the coming battle and his very life may well depend on his readiness to relinquish his powers. Never allow yourself to forget the origin of your strength. Ever does the dragon lurk behind your eyes, biding its time, ready to claim you for its own. No, I'm pretty sure I'm just dragon, my dude. Aught less than complete conviction, and you will find yourself in its vice-like clutches. So be forewarned. Let us return to our present endeavor. My promise to Estinian is that I would impart to you on the technique that will mark you as a true Azure Dragoon. If you would know the truth, however, this knowledge is not within my power to bestow. No, you must claim the technique, much as you claimed forth a piece of the armor you bear, by proving yourself in battle with the dragons whose power you would unite with your own. I entrust you with this flute once more. Take it to the southwest of Providence Point and blow a single note. By locking wills with your adversary and prevailing, you will prove yourself worthy to champion the cause to which your lance is sworn. The dragon within you shall then awaken. My guy, my buddy, my dude. Horns. Tail. One disappointing thing about Aura is that I don't have the same kind of, like, pointy teeth that the Mihote have. I wish that was an option. It might be something worth modding in the future. Just saying. Actually, I doubt it would be down here. It would be, like... Hello? Maybe it's up top. Hello? I guess it is. There must be a roundabout way of getting up here. Get all your boosts going. And then bring the pain. unless we return. This time for an ability, we don't get the last piece until level 50. It is good to see you've safely returned. I take it from your bearing that the engagement went favorably. You left this place, but you return as a dragon. Left as a person, returned as a dragon. There is no more for me to teach you. From here, your battle is yours and yours alone. Now, you might recall me saying that the fifth and final piece of the Draken armor was not mine to give. However, that is not wholly true. I could guide you in that direction of that which you seek. Technically, I left a dragon and returned a dragon, but I digress. That said, I yet have reservations. The sheer power of the dragon housed within is said that a many great... Frickin' A. That said, I have reservations. The sheer power of the dragon housed within is such that a great many of your Azure forebearers, myself among them, have proven hopelessly incapable of wielding it. But I do not doubt what I see. Within you has awakened a strength that forever eluded the likes of me. If you are not worthy of wearing the armor, then I know none who are. Remember this as a warning, and heed it well. Nidhogg is a lord among his kind. Aught less than complete conviction, and you will surely fall under his thrall. Before you can master your foe, you must needs master yourself. Hone your lance, until it can bear no further honing, and then present yourself to me. When the time has come, I will tell you what you need to know. I look forward to our next meeting, my young dragoon. And we get a second jump. Alright, I guess that means I'm gonna have to be back here at level 50, which is going to take forever. Possibly another day, given at what time it is, but we'll do my best. See you in a bit. Alright, it took forever, but we finally made it to level 50, so let us finish up Dragoon, so we can get on with it. Into the Dragon's Maw, Sir Albrecht wears a solemn expression on his face. We get the final piece of the Draken Mail, as well as a new move, which I think is another jump. Yeah, delivers a jumping fire-based attack with a potency of 300. I'm curious if it actually has an element to it anymore. It probably did a long time ago in the early patches, but I don't think elements exist as a mechanic in this game anymore. Ironically enough, too, the Dragoon armor that you get is not as powerful as stuff you get in later dungeons, which is weird. Ah, Bren, an urgent message arrived from Pastidian in your absence. He bids you come out to the Steel Vigil. It would seem Nidhogg is on the move, and rather sooner than we anticipated. It appears you have not yet fully become master of the dragon within you, and yet we are racing against time. I fear we have no choice but to do battle to the best of your current abilities, and without the Draken Mail I promised. Now let us away. Astinian must know the truth of Ferndale, lest he fall for the Great Worm's seduction. So I'll wear some of it for aesthetiques, but once I actually get the Draken Mail, it's going to be useless. Hilariously enough. Okay, I'm gonna warp up. Save time. It didn't do that with tank classes. Every bit of armor that I found in dungeons was not more powerful than my quest armor, but for some reason DPS apparently doesn't share that notion. Maybe I need to be in here without sleeve and come back in. There we go. Duty calls. Commence battle for Into the Dragon's Maw. Proceed. Albrecht, I've waited long for this day. You, who fancy yourself an Azure Dragoon, the man whose cause you have taken for your own, is a coward. He relinquished the power of the dragon to his own volition and watched as Ferndale burned. Do you not think it ironic that I was chosen Azure Dragoon? I, an orphan who has not a value to protect in Ishgard? I suppose I must give thanks, for it was the eye that revealed to me the truth, a truth so damning as to undo a lifetime of trust. I loved you as a father, but I can ill forgive you for Ferndale. As I understand it, you kept even the Archbishop in the dark regarding the missing eye. Do you mean to take your shame to your grave? But I waste my breath. Prepare yourself, old man, for I shall lay you to waste all the things you hold dear, and once I am finished with you, I shall do what no Azure Dragoon has succeeded in doing. I shall claim Nidhogg's head. Now calm yourself, Estinian. That rage renders you vulnerable to the dragon's influence. No, it's okay. He has plot armor. He has to, as a quest giver. In you, I thought I had found kindred, someone besides whom I could fight the Great Worm. It is with a heavy heart that I relinquished that dream. Your affection for this coward has rendered you deaf to your own destiny. Very well. That we would one day cross lances was inevitable from the moment of our first meeting. As we shall now find out who the Eye's true chosen is, there can be only one. Yeah, that's the thing about these quests, is that since you can technically take on these quests at any point in your journey, it does mean that characters within them are known to have— oh god, I did the Dragoon thing. The characters have plot armor as a result. If you need someone alive to be in these quests, you know that in the future, that means they have plot armor. Oh yeah, and I have this new move. The cherry blossoms are basically like poison. Okay, I think I got out of it this time. Forget I have those too now. Damn it. You're lighting the stage on fire! I'm just gonna ignore the eyes. I think they dissipate eventually. Feeble creature, dost thou desire power? Look to thine anger and to thine hatred. It is there that thou shalt find it. Almighty Nidhogg, Lord of Dragons. Grant unto me thy blood, that I might be granted the claws and fangs wherewithin to rend thine enemies. Bren, this is impossible. It cannot be. Wait, is that me? How can that be me? I'm wearing a very different armor set than what it gives me. I mean, I would prefer that one. Forgive me, Estinian. I have failed you once again. I am fine, somewhat shaken, but otherwise whole of body. Suffice it to say, I have much to reflect upon. Let us return through the observatorium. The soul of the Dragoon shines with unbound radiance. You have finished the Dragoon quest line. Also, Estinian's fine. He's in future trailers. I know he's fine. Alright, I'm gonna teleport halfway just because I'm lazy. And then continue the rest of the way on foot. But yeah, for some reason it gave me a totally different avatar to symbolize my inner Dragoon. It wasn't me at all. Like, at least in the beginning of the game, when it had you pick a class, it had your character specifically in the armor that you were going to be given, eventually, further into the game. But for some reason, this one, it just gave you, like, a copy of Estinian's model. When the being of darkness closed upon us, you appeared to me the spitting image of Haldrith, the dragon's eye, just as he was depicted in the Holy Scriptures. I was gonna say, I gained like a foot in height. I thought that mayhap the years had taken their toll on my mind, but behold, the soul of the Dragoon shines as it never did in all these years I bore it. It would seem you have achieved that which was thought impossible. You've awakened to the ability that none but the first Azure Dragoon possessed. Truly a momentous achievement. I can still scarce believe that you were able to summon the self-same Draken mail worn by Haldrith. To think that it had been sealed within the soul crystal all this time. I have borne witness to many and more wonders over the years, yet none compares to you, my young Dragoon. Could it be that you are... mark not my mutterings. I am sure that it was your indomitable sense of justice that resonated within the spirit of the Azure Dragoon, prompting him to bestow the armor upon you. Yes, that is doubtless what happened. As the being of darkness faded, so too did Dindhog's aura subside. And now his kind have ceased their stirring. Whether this was compelled by your awakening, I cannot say. I suspect we will learn the truth of it eventually. Estinian, my dear boy, whatever becomes of him, he will be as a son to me. I pray that he is somewhere out there still, and that he has not wholly forgotten the man he once was. Oh, he's out there. He's in future trailers. I know he's out there. That's another reason, too, why if he's in future trailers, that's how I know for a fact that if he has to be alive to be able to give this quest at any point in your journey, from A Realm Reborn to Dawn Trial, then, like, Estinian cannot die. He has plot armor. When the darkness brushed against me, the selfsame torrent of emotions swept over me, as those I experienced 20 summers past. But there was something else besides. There was a voice, and it lamented the rift that divides dragons and men. Because, I mean, like, he can't die in a job quest and then suddenly still be alive for MSQ. Like, it won't work. He has to have plot armor. So anything that Estinian does going forward, you know, he is gonna be fine. He's gonna be safe. You will come to comprehend what I speak in due time. Till then, I pray that you will ever use your newfound strength in the name of justice. This concludes the Dragoon quest for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. In order to undertake the next series of quests, you must first meet the following requirements. You must have completed the main scenario quest before the dawn. Once you have done so, the next Dragoon quest will be available from Albrecht. Since there's going to be more in Heavensward, but we'll get to that when we get to Heavensward. Especially since there's going to be less job quests in general. I think there's going to be like one per class, and then I'll also start working on some of the Heavensward exclusive classes. Since there's going to be a few that I need to be able to get up to Ishgard and even in order to obtain. So, Dragoon armor. So, the Dragoon of the past gave me his old armor. There's just a little bit of a problem with it. I'm not a fan. Here's the full set. Sir, you seem to have removed pieces of the armor. Like, the back is fine. The back, you could tell that it's pretty much the same, but the front, Sir, a piece seems to have gotten torn to shreds while I executed my limit break, and therefore I kind of hate it. Oh, here's the helmet, by the way. You can either have the visor up or the visor down. It's really up to you. So instead of that, where did I put it? I have a tendency to use, like, this piece, which I know doesn't match as well. I could potentially find something to dye it the correct black colors, but I don't know. Dragoon armor set, not my favorite. I wish there was a way you could get the male set, because not a fan. Not a fan of that midriff. Nope. But anyway, that is it for Dragoon. There's nothing else I can do for this one going forward. So this is where I'm probably gonna call it a stream for now. And I think the next one I'm probably gonna work on is... oh gosh, what class should I work on next? Nothing else I think takes heavy armor. I don't... yeah, Lancer, Paladin, Warrior, Dragoon. Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, and Reaper. Those are going to be in future patches. We don't even have access to those yet. So I think next I'm going to be starting on another Warrior class. So I'm thinking maybe Thief, since I have a lot of daggers. So that'll be it going forward. But for now, this is where I'm going to call it. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined. If you want to see more Final Fantasy content in the future, please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you all in future videos. Bye-bye.